Sanibonani, uNkosinathi Mkhize lo. Ngiyathokoza kakhulu ukuthi ngibe kanye nani ngalomzuzu ukuthi sikhulume ngezamaphupho. Njengoba ngike ngabalula ekuqaleni ukuthi amaphupho engizogxila kukona ilezi inhlobo eziwu2 where ilamaphupho lawa ongawakhumbuli engeke ngakubalula ukuthi just because you don't remember those dreams, it doesn't mean ukuthi the message is not important. The message is still important. It's just that it did not register into your mind at that particular time, but it is already there in your spiritual capacity when it will then be released when the time is right to your mind. Then you will then know the message of that particular dream. And like I said, ukuthi ey'ntweni zikamoya, the spirit does not have distance. The spirit does not have time as we perceive it, Tina. It operates on its own different dimension, and it will always remain as a high frequency compared to the physicalness, because as I said, ukuthi thina njengoba siphila kulomhlaba, we are the extension of the spirit, and the spirit is the basis of that which we are. So siqhamuka kwelikamoya, and konke esikwenzayo emhlabeni sincela from umoya. Ngike ngenza nje isibonelo ngathi umoya thina njengabantu we operate ezweni likamoya like 90% of the time, and 10% of the time si operator physically. Ukwenza nje isibonelo, when you think, that is spiritual. When you love somebody, that is spiritual, because you can't touch love, and when you taste something, when you touch something, that is now physical. When you hear something, that is now spiritual. So zonke lezo zinto lezo ziyasiza ukuthi sibe umuntu lo esuyena, and we need to tap in all spheres of impilo zethu. There is also a body intelligence which siyibiza ukuthi it's an innate, where kwenzeka izinto ngobuhlakani bomzimba, and amaphupho ke ancike kakhulu. That is why kwesinye isikhathi uzothola ukuthi khona bazokutshela ukuthi if ufuna ukukhumbula amaphupho akho, you need to watch diet yakho, you need to ukubheka ukuthi udla ngasiphi isikhathi futhi, for example, because of your digestive system and everything that is happening kumzimba wakho, because your body intelligence is also linked to your mind, and your mind is linked to intuition, and your intuition is linked to consciousness, which consciousness, it's a spirituality, or it's a spiritual side. So like ngike ngasho ngathi kuba in a spiritual side, and then from the spiritual side mase kuba intuition. Intuition, uma sithi metaphorically speaking, injenge bridge between your consciousness and your mind. So ngike ngathi kunesikhathi where you operate from the bridge, which is intuition. Kunale information that you know, but you don't know how you know it, but you know that you know, and you sure ukuthi it's the right information. Simply because that information, it comes from the spirit, and it's just there on the bridge, and it's ready to be transferred to your mind, and your mind will then interpret it, and then you speak it out or you act it out. That's how it goes. With the dreams that you remember, amaphupho lawa esiwakhumbulayo kusuke kuyimessage ephuthumayo, kusuke kuyimessage futhi ebalulekile. Hayi ukuthi lawa amaphupho ongawakhumbuli imessage yakhona ibalulekile. Mhlambe umehluko between the two ukuthi lawa ongawakhumbuli imessage ibalulekile but ayikho urgent. Kanti leli phupho leli wena olikhumbulayo imessage yakhona ibalulekile and it's urgent. That is why uzolikhumbula, because it will help you in your current situation. Kanti leli ongalikhumbuli lona lizokusiza maybe in your near future, or it will help you lizoqhamuka in different stages as you live your life, as you go on with ijourney empilo yakho. So iphupho lelo ongalikhumbulanga will always play a role, because it's sort of like libuka kude, you know, so it has to be acted upon in different stages, because the message yakhona it's big, it's so huge ukuthi it cannot be processed at once, you know, or in that particular moment. It need different moments, different stages for it to be unpacked. That is why ingqondo yakho can never remember that particular dream, because it contains information enkulu kakhulu that needs to be unpacked periodically. You know, mhlambe it can take years for that dream to be unpacked. It can take months for that dream to be unpacked. It can take weeks for that dream or that message to be unpacked. Hence, that is why your mind cannot remember it. Not ukuthi alibalekile. Usungazikhohlisa ukuthi hayi iphupho lenyonga libalekile. One way or other, that information that has been given to you, the fact that your mind remembers ukuthi kunephupho, but it doesn't remember ukuthi lithini, is because ingqondo yakho, this is what your mind does. Like I said, ukuthi ingqondo yakho, it operates or it processes 24 frames per second. Kanti i-consciousness or umoya wakho operates 500 million instructions per second. Now, if your mind ibona nanka ama 500 instructions, you know, per second, your mind can only take 24 frames per second. So this is huge for your mind to actually, you know, grasp. So izokwenzani ingqondo yakho? Izobe isiyenza lento esithi flight fight syndrome. Flight fight syndrome. You know, you know, njengokuquleka sort of, umbona umuntu oqulekayo kuba kanjalo, because it's like ubona into emthusayo and then aquleke. Nengqondo ke yenza kanjalo. Your mind also does the same thing. You know, if that information, then it results in you not remembering that dream, because ingqondo ikhetha ukuthi, you know what, no, not now, no, not now. That's what your mind does. Then you don't remember the dream, you know, but then your spirit will then say, simply because your mind does not want to take this message, it's fine. We will then dissect the message so that your mind can grasp the message and the message can be delivered to the intended situation or circumstance. Then uthola ukuthi mhlambe lelo phupho lelo or those instructions uthothe liqhamuka njenge danger vu, for example, ukuthi hawu yazi lento ngangayibona kodwa ngangiyibonaphi, yazi lo muntu ngangambona kodwa lo muntu ngangimbonaphi, yabo. So those are part of that dream that you did not remember. It's actually playing out. Ziningi indlela that it plays out. ziningi. Sometimes it can also be like in a form of a thought. Sometimes ukhulume, like I said earlier on, ukuthi sometimes ukuthi mokhuluma into uthi hayibo uyibuze usuyikhulumile lento, hayibo ngiyithatha phi lento, yaze yabaleka, yaze yankulu, ayingeke mina bengeke mina ngikhuluma into engaka, bengeke ngicabanga into engaka. It's because ivesane yafika yathi straight ya operator from the intuition. Like I said, the intuition is more of, metaphorically speaking, of course, it's more of a bridge between the mind and the consciousness and the mind. So leli phupho ke leli olukhumbulayo kusuke kuyi message from the spirit ezoqhamuka isithi straight to I mind yakho. Everything else that will be happening in your mind will then be put aside. With pause a little bit, let's deal with this because this is important and it's also urgent and it needs to be dealt with urgently. Then that is why you will remember the dream. Sometimes this is also what is happening. Uthola ukuthi you don't remember everything in the dream, but you remember some parts of the dream. That is why kukhona abantu who are gifted to interpret dreams, because those people, when they interpret dreams, they have an ability to move backwards. They move backwards. These people, they look at your mind, what you remember from the dream, and then they move back to intuition, and then they move back to consciousness, which is the spirit side. Then they will know, the message of this dream, it's this, because they will tap into their psychic abilities, where they will then operate from the spiritual side to get the information by that smallanyana clue that you will give them from what you remember from the dream. Then they can go backwards and remember the dream, and and get the information from the dream by the clue that you will give them. That is why I always say, sometimes, or in most cases, abantu ababili bangaphupha isymbol eyodwa ephusheni, kodwa uthola ukuthi meaning yakhona ayifani. That is why I will never interpret iphupho lakho ngibe general. Mhlawumbe umuntu uzoqhamuka athi kusho ukuthini ukuphupha inkawu. Inkawu, it can mean different things for different people. Amathongo angasebenzisa inkawu for a different reason, or your spirit can use a monkey for a different reason, and akusho ukuthi uma efike kumina umuntu wakamkhize ezosebenzisa inkawu, i-message yakhona izofana nawe omunye umuntu ophupha inkawu ukuthi i-message yafana. It can be different because iphupho, it's a personal message, and you can never generalize iphupho, as I have seen most people do. Ukuthi umuntu ozokutshela yazi ngiphupha into ukuthi ngabe kusho ukuthini uphupha ukuthi, no, tell me the whole dream. Then I will from that dream, from what you will tell me, because you will tell me from a man, I will be able, with the gift that has been given to me by my people, by my spirits, by my where I come from, I will then be able to tap into the intuition and be able to go back and tap into the spiritual side of it, and then I will give you i-message ithi yaleli phupho lakho, not necessarily ukuthi uzothi hayi mengiphupha inje emnyama shuthi kusho isitha. It cannot be true for somebody else. It could mean totally different thing for somebody else. So iphupho is very spiritual. Iphupho is also personal. And when you remember the dream, that means the message is important and it's urgent. When you don't remember the dream, it means the message is so big that your mind can understand it. And it's also important. So, ngiyanicela bantu bakithi ukuthi don't underestimate your dreams. Don't ever underestimate ubuthongo benu. There is a reason why wonke umuntu eba nobuthongo. It's because wonke umuntu okhona emhlabeni kumele athi recharge. And where do you recharge? You recharge from your spirit, because you are the extension of the spirit, and the spirit is the basis of that which you are. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi senu. Ngiyathemba ukuthi lokho engikhulume ngakho lamhlanje kuzokusiza ukuthi mhlambe u-understand more when it comes to amaphupho, because wonke umuntu okhona uyaphupha. Umehluko usekutheni abanye abawakhumbula amaphupho abo, abanye bayakhumbula. Kunezinto oyisebenzisayo ukuthi ukwazi ukukhumbula amaphupho, but bengifuna nje ukuthi u-understand i-process yokukhumbula nongakhumbuli, and mhlambe uzokwazi uku-understand ukuthi uma sengisebenzisa lokhu mhlambe sengigquma ngale mpande ukuze ngikwazi ukuthi ngikhumbule iphupho, kusuke kwenzakalani, usuke uwenzani, usuke udila nayiphi part, udila ne-body for what reason, udila ne-mind for what reason. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi senu. uNkulunkulu azanibusise. Thank you so much.